This digital node project has just launched today, and they already have partnerships with Netflix and BMW. They've got $5 million in annual revenue, raised $17 million in funding, and just completed the first ever US-based digital node sale. This might be the most promising node project that I've ever covered. It's a project that's targeting the virtual reality market, which is a market that's going to grow to be worth trillions of dollars. And what's different about this project is that there's no rising price tiers of the nodes, and you can earn 2 income streams from one node. But remember, it's getting in early that's going to give you the most rewards in these Depin projects. And I've got a 10% discount code that I'll have linked in the description. And make sure you stay till the end of the video, because alongside breaking down the nodes and how they earn, I'll break down my strategies to maximize the earnings from this node. In this video, I'll go over what Mawari is and what it's trying to achieve, including looking at the funding, the partners, and the team behind it. I'll focus on the nodes and how they earn. And lastly, I'll go through the different strategies that you can deploy depending on which node you want to purchase. I'll have timestamps on the screen. Right, let's jump straight into this video. Right, let me jump into the Mawari website so we can learn more about this project and what it's trying to achieve ahead of the node sale that's going live on the 30th of July. Now, Mawari is the world's first decentralized extended reality streaming project, and it's focusing on 2 key areas: extended reality and spatial computing. Now, extended reality is a term which covers augmented reality, so think of Pokemon Go when you overlay digital content on the real world. Virtual reality, so that's a fully immersive experience. Think of Meta Quest when you put on those goggles and you're fully in a 3D world. And then you've got mixed reality, so that's the blending of real and digital environments. So think of the Apple Vision Pro. You put that on, you're sat in your house, but you're actually interacting with a digital environment. And spatial computing enables these devices to understand and interact with the physical world. So think of Apple Vision Pro and Meta Quest 3. This is spatial computing. Now, this matters because this is a huge market. You can see the extended reality market here. Devices around 50 million at the moment. Projected to have over 100 million devices live by 2030. And in the spatial computing market, which currently sits around $150 billion valuation, that's going to be a $1 trillion market by 2035. So this is something that we should be paying attention to. And Mawari is super well placed in this space, and I'll give you a few reasons why it is. Number one is that they have a fully public team. Now, these guys have got over 50 years combined experience in this sector. They've got staff who've come from Meta and Google, etc. And you can read more about their team and their founders online. And the second reason why I'm bullish on Mawari is the funding. They actually raised over $17 million, and they've got investors like Borderless Capital, Animoca Brands, Outlier Ventures. These are huge companies, and they're investing in this market because they see huge potential. The third reason is that they actually have a fully functioning product. So as you can see, they've got over 50,000 hours of streaming that they've already carried out in 2024, and the company is generating over $5 million in annual recurring revenue. This is huge in the Web3 Depin space. And the fourth reason are some of their notable partners and their clients. You can see that they've got clients such as Netflix, Sega, BMW, in fact the list goes on, T-Mobile, and these are all partners that are invested in the infrastructure and the patents that they have, because they've actually got a 3D streaming patent that has almost 80% reduction in bandwidth usage than what we have at the moment. Remember, that represents a huge drop in cost. And the last reason is that they just completed the first US regulated node sale. This is a huge achievement because usually companies in the US can't get involved in node sales because they don't have the due diligence. But they have gone through IPO level due diligence for this node sale that just sold out 3 days early. So that's Mawari in a nutshell, what they're trying to build, and why they're a project that you should probably pay attention to. So as I mentioned, Mawari is a Depin project. So it's powering this real-time streaming of its immersive content through a global network of nodes. Now, it's these nodes that they're calling decentralized infrastructure offerings, or DIOs. And the main thing about this node sale is that they're not trying to rush after hype or FOMO. Now, if you look at some of the previous node sales in the Depin space, that's been a factor. If you look at 2024, there was a big cluster of node sales, some of the largest sales being Aether and Sophon and Carve. But in 2025, there haven't really been many node sales. And part of the reason is probably the way that these node sales were structured. A lot of it was driven by FOMO. You can see here on the Carve node sale that Tier 1 was $500, but the later tiers were nearly $10,000. And so that isn't really a fair way of delivering a node sale, but also it can drive a lot of FOMO. You can see here on one of these projects that the price between tier 1 and the later tiers was over 27 times. And Mawari is doing something slightly different right now. Their model for the node sale is one which is transparent and fair. And so they've got a few key features of the node sales. Number one is that they have flat pricing across the tiers. It's 300,000 nodes, $333 a node. Of course, that's before any discount. The second thing about these nodes is that they have a dual reward system. One node is going to reward you 2 different ways, and there's some additional ways that you're going to get rewarded as well. The first way that you're going to get rewarded is by network revenue. So 20% of the Mawari network's total net revenue is going to go towards the Guardian nodes. Now, it depends on which node you choose to show how much of this percent you get, but that's the first way that you're going to earn. And the second way that you're going to earn is something called early operator incentives. So if you run your Guardian node and you support the network, you're going to get something called an early operator incentive. Now, the amount of revenue you get and the amount of incentives that you get depends on the type of node that you're going to select. I'll go through that very quickly, but in the last part of the video, I'll work out some strategies on how you can run these nodes. Now, you can either run these nodes yourself. The minimum specs are not very high for these nodes. You can see them on the screen here. Very low internet connectivity and a low CPU. And you can either run the node yourself, or as we do with any of the nodes, you can actually delegate it to a node as a service provider. So what are the different plans of the nodes that you can purchase? So you've got the Visionary, the Balance, and the Catalyst. Now, the Visionary is going to give you a small amount of early operator incentives. That's the bit you get at the beginning, but it's going to give you a much higher percentage of the network rewards. 72% of network rewards you're going to get over time, but a smaller amount at the beginning. The Balance is going to give you 500 tokens as network incentives, but you're going to get 16% of the network rewards or the revenue which is going to be generated. And then the Catalyst is 1,000 tokens that you're going to get as early network incentives, and then 11% is going to be over time with the network revenue. So that 20% that's put aside for the nodes, this is how it's broken into from the revenue. Now, obviously, depending on what your strategy is going to be, you can decide which plan you're going to go into, but that's how the node sale is going to work in a nutshell. And we'll do that in the last part of the video. We'll talk about strategies and how I think best placed you should be depending on what your priorities are. And the last thing I want to mention about this node sale is that they just had a sale that's been completed, a private one on Republic. Now, Republic is an investment platform. It's got digital assets, music, video games, etc. Now, the thing about this node sale is that it was the first fully committed US-based node sale of its kind. To get on Republic, there's almost an IPO level of due diligence. And so the fact that they had 100% reserved on there really speaks volumes about this project and shows the potential that they could make, especially if they hit the Web 2 market. Right. So we're on the last part of the video. Some strategies if you are interested in purchasing the nodes from Mawari. Now remember, this is not financial advice. This is just strategies after you've done your own research and you're committed to buy. What is the best way that you can go forward? So as I mentioned, there are 3 different strategies that you can go from. The Visionary strategy is going to give you a lot less at the beginning, but over time it's going to give you the network rewards. The Balance is going to give you around 500 tokens at the beginning, but then it's going to give you a lot less over time. And of course, the Catalyst is front loaded for early participation. You get that 1,000 tokens, but you're going to get a lot less over time. So what's the strategy that you would work with? Well, let's go with a $300 budget, a $1,000 budget, and a $3,000 budget. Well, the main factor is going to be your time horizon. Are you long-term focused, or do you want faster reward? If you've only got the money for one node, it might make sense for you to focus mainly on your time horizon. So it could be on the Visionary or it could be on the Catalyst. The reason is you're going to get the best payout on that one node. So you're either going to get the best early payout or you're going to get the best later payout if it's just a $300 budget. Remember, it's $300 because you can knock $33 off with my discount code. If your budget is a little bit higher and you're around $1,000, well, now you can play around with 3 licenses. It still depends on your time horizon. The balanced person would just buy one of each node. That way you're covering yourself on all angles. You're getting yourself a decent amount in the early and operator incentives from plan 2 and plan 3. You're also securing yourself with that huge 70% for the later network distributions. The other way is if you're more wanting to get an early return, it could be 2 of the plan 3s and 1 of the plan 1s. That's going to give you again long-term growth but also short-term return. So if we go with a $3,000 budget, in my opinion, it makes sense just to get 3 of each of the nodes. That way you're going to stack yourself a decent amount of early operator incentives, but you're also locking yourself upside quite a bit for the later network distribution. With a higher allocation, it's not as if you're balancing your bets on left or right. You've got enough money, enough capital to actually spread yourself in the best way that you can. Now, my personal strategy, I'm probably going to go for 3 nodes given my budget, and I'm going to go for 1 of each of the plans because I want to make sure that I get my early operator incentives, but I also want to make sure that I get the network rewards as well. Right, so that's it for this video. I hope you got a ton of value from the information that I shared. I do have a link in the description that's going to be valid as long as there are nodes available for sale. And if you like these types of videos, you can check this one out here. Right, that's it from me. I'll catch you in the next one.